Okay, good morning, everybody. It is 10:30 a.m. and I'm calling this regular meeting of the zoning administrator to order. Looking at the April 17th, 2025 draft minutes, can we take public comments on the draft minutes?
If you're attending in person, would like to make a comment on the draft minutes, go ahead and raise your hand. There are no public comments.
Great. I'll close the public comment on the draft minutes and approve them as submitted. We are now taking public comments on item 3, non-agenda matters. This is the time when any person may address matters not listed on this agenda, but which are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the zoning administrator.
If you're attending in person, would like to make a comment on non-agenda items, please raise your hand.
Good morning, Janice Carmen. And these are statements and or questions. One is getting the public request for information. I've gotten them before, or gotten one at least before, and it was no problem. But this time, I don't know if it's either 3 weeks or it's going into the 4th week. But I'd like to know who to talk to, because what I'm beginning to discover at the city, there are so many layers of who's doing what that the public person can't decipher who's supposed to be doing what they're trying to get. And sometimes the city can't do it either. And so it kind of meanders around. And it should just be a direct process. You get what you get, you get a call and you pick it up. The first time it wasn't difficult. Then, so I want to know, who do I see to have that more streamlined? There must be a manager for a department or something. So I'm asking that as a question. And I know I can't engage with you. I'm learning. And the other is, I've been coming to the zoning meetings and the planning meetings and the city council meetings, and I want to know where the policy is being made for the zoning. Is this like, within, I'm not talking to you, is it within the city that they're doing it? Or is this public engagement that ends up being considered as policy? I'm unclear on it. So I'd like to know and have that cleared up, where policy is actually being written. Things like the general plan being changed. Now, I know there was a big meeting about that, recently, but I also know that I go to some meetings and they're not really very well attended. Plus, I came to a meeting here last week for economic development, and it had actually moved across the street to a planning office. So I'm doing my best to do my due diligence to follow through and to try to get information. And it's challenging. So it's those two things. Where do you go for policy? Who's doing it, or how's it being done? And what happened to my request for public information that I put in at least 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to make a public comment? It's like we have no further public comments.
Okay, I will close the non-agenda public comment period and read the statement of purpose for the zoning administrator. The zoning administrator is appointed by the Planning and Economic Development Director and has the responsibility and authority to conduct public meetings and hearings and to act on applications for minor or reduced review authority projects or entitlements. A determination by the zoning administrator may be appealed to the Design Review and Preservation Board, Planning Commission, or City Council as applicable to the decision. All actions taken by the zoning administrator may be appealed within 10 calendar days. If the final day of the appeal period falls on a non-business day, the appeal period will be extended to the next business day. There are no zoning administrator reports, nor are there any consent items, so we will move on to the first scheduled item, which is a public meeting for a minor conditional use permit for a veterinary hospital at 730 Bennett Valley Road. Do we have a staff report, please?
Thank you, Zoning Administrator McKay. I'm the project planner for the application of a vet clinic at 730 Bennett Valley Road. The applicant is proposing to operate the clinic 5 days a week, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. There aren't any proposed changes to the exterior of the building. They are proposing some interior things, but that's going to be through the building permit process. So today we're just mainly looking at the use, which requires a minor conditional use permit based off of the zoning. So this is an aerial view of the existing building. I believe it was some sort of lab type of use that was there prior to now. And this is an aerial view of the neighborhood. Surrounding the property is mostly a residential piece. The zoning district is commercial office, and the general plan land use designation is office. And again, as you can see here, it's surrounded by mostly a medium density residential piece, as well as some retail a little bit further down going west. This is the project site plan. Just kind of wanted to show the parking there. The use will have enough sufficient parking. And there is a fence there that was posted, I think about a couple of years back, and that's been conditioned to go through the design review process. So that's one of the conditions for approval for today. The project was found to be categorically exempt because it's just involving a change of the use. Staff analysis concluded that the findings can be met, and I have not received any comments on this project, public comments, I should say. So it is therefore recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve a resolution for a minor conditional use permit to allow a veterinary hospital at 730 Bennett Valley Road. And the applicant is present in person if you do have any questions.
Great, thank you. Does the applicant wish to make any comments or presentation?
Well, we appreciate you guys taking the time to go through our permit, and I believe that it's a good use of the space. The previous use prior to an analytical lab was a human outpatient surgical center, so it really fits our needs well, and is a great use for that particular space and building.
Thank you. With that, let's go to public comment.
If you're attending in person, would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand.
I think it looks like a good use as well. I'm very familiar with the area.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else wish to make a public comment on this item?
No further public comment.
Okay, then I will close public comment. Yes, I agree. I think this is a great subsequent reoccupancy use. I noted that this is a unique sort of operation in Sonoma County. I think it will fulfill a much appreciated need for pet owners in the county. I agree with staff's analysis that it would not constitute a nuisance and it would be compatible with surrounding uses. And with that, I'll approve the project. Thank you. Please note this decision is final unless an appeal is filed with the Planning and Economic Development Department within 10 calendar days of today's decision. For this item, that date is Monday, May 12th, 2025. Thank you. The next item is item 6.2, a public meeting, minor design review to modify previously approved plan for Burbank Avenue Apartments at 1120 through 1140 Fenway Drive and 1499 Yankee Drive.
Appreciate it.
Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, sir. Appreciate the introductions on Administrator McKee. And the project in front of you today is a revision to Burbank Avenue Apartments located at 1120, 1130, 1140, and 1140 Fenway and 1499 Yankee Drive. The applicant is requesting a revision to the previously approved design of the apartment structures to increase the height to 36 feet and 2 inches And per zoning code section 2030-70, subsection D, it allows gables to exceed the building height limits of the applicable zoning district with design review approval. And also the applicant is requesting to reduce the size of 4 parking spaces to motorcycle spaces to accommodate solar equipment. And I would like to memorialize that it's not 2 parking spaces, actually 4 parking spaces that's being converted into motorcycle spaces. And the site plan exceeds the minimum parking requirements per zoning code. And here's the aerial picture of where the structure will be built. And as you can see, it's surrounded by residential to the north and south and a school to the east. And here are existing conditions. The project is currently under construction. And here is a visual impact of what the additional height will look like. And the additional height is marginal and will not be readily visible from the public right away. Here's a site plan that shows where the 2 parking spaces will be converted into more motorcycle spaces. And this project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and it is statutorily exempt per the 2020 Design Review Board decision that the project is consistent with the Rosa area Sebastian Rose specific plan. And visual changes are not noticeable from the public right away. At this time, there are no unresolved issues, no public comment have been received. Staff analysis has concluded that all findings can be met, and the applicant has reviewed and approved all conditional approval. Thus, it is recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve a minor design review to allow changes to the previously approved plans for Burbank Avenue apartments located at 1120, 1130, 1140 Fenway Drive, and 1499 Yankee Drive. My contact information is at the bottom left of the screen. And the applicant is here if you also have questions for him.
Great, thank you. Would the applicant like to make any comments?
No, I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you.
Presented it well.
With that, let's go to public comment.
If you're attending in person and would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand.
Question, and that is, I was looking at the plans and I wasn't looking at them real carefully, but I'm curious what the square footage is of the apartments.
Okay, is there anybody else that wishes to make a public comment on this item? Okay, I will close public comment and allow the applicant to respond to public.
I
Hi. The individual units.
have an idea of, yeah. It just came to me because it's just knowing apartments, I'm just curious what the size of the apartment is because it's dense. I know it's dense,
Yeah.
but
Oh.
I'm very curious about the size of the apartments individually.
I don't have that in front of me, but yes, they're 1, 2, and 3 bedroom.
I know that part.
And they're probably, 650 to 680 square feet.
Guesstimate.
And the
That's pretty
twos,
small.
yeah, and the twos are probably 900. The threes are, I guess, 1150.
Okay, great. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
With that, I'll close the public comment. Yeah, it's somewhat unfortunate that this construction error occurred, but at the end of the day, the code does allow for slight exceptions to building height for gable and architectural features with the approval of minor design review by the zoning administrator. So I feel like I can make the same findings for the same reasons that the design review board approved this project, and that the architecture is of superior quality. The materials are appropriate for the surrounding area. The minor exceedance of the zoning code requirements for building height is not significantly adding to the massing of the building. And agree with staff's analysis that the project would not result in any incompatibilities with surrounding land uses. So for all of those reasons, I will approve the project. Please note that this action is final unless an appeal is filed with the Planning and Economic Development Department within 10 calendar days of today's decision. For that date, for this item, that date is Monday, May 12th, 2025. And that concludes our business for this meeting, so I will adjourn
So
this
now I have
meeting.
a question for
Thank
you. Since